Well, hello, friends. Glad you could join us. Welcome to round number 4 of this 13th Division 2 season, the Midwest F1 League. Tonight we are at the Algarve International Circuit, otherwise known as Portimao, here for what should be a very fun edition of Division 2 here. We've got 14 drivers on the grid. A bit of an average night now as far as attendance is concerned, but some quality drivers here, so sit back and enjoy what we've got in store for you. This track, which was featured twice in two different F1 seasons, I believe, 2020 and 2021, provided some pretty halfway decent racing. You know, not the most overtake-heavy circuit on track, but the picturesque elevation changes. It's almost more of a roller coaster than a racing surface, this, and our drivers love racing on it, and we've brought it back yet again, and for some reason it's still in F1 24. So am I complaining? Absolutely not. And here we go. Hopefully we get treated with a good one tonight. Obviously, as well, some rain could be in the forecast. Portimao, quite rainy part of the country in Portugal. So let's see. What does the esports god have in store for us? And I tell you what, it's quite cloudy at the moment. Doesn't appear to be any sort of wet weather on tap, at least for the time being. Whether or not it holds out that way, I mean, we'll never know. But yeah, 14 drivers on the grid. Let's get you situated with the drivers and constructor standings for the time being. This is coming out of the Spa Grand Prix last time out. Dusty Lusky leads the way, 97 points, 20 clear of Knuckles at 77. Noganator and Twinkie Cream both tied at 74 apiece. For that third spot. It's Gab in 5th at 70, 69. Nice for Slayerized. It will be 62 for A-Dub, 56 for both Damn Sam and Electric Blade, and Israel at 53 points. As far as the constructors are concerned, while we have a minute, let's go along with Damn Sam. He's going to be our first driver out on track. Drivers choosing the soft tires as I would say pretty obvious, but you never know. Sometimes we see drivers go out on mediums in the early runs. As far as the constructors are concerned, the Red Bull team leads the way, 139 points. Alpine in second at 136. McLaren behind them, 105. 97 for the Aston Martins, 82 for the Haas. Mercedes at 74. Williams at 73. Sauber at 62. The V-Carbs at 41. And the Ferrari at 17. And it will be that of Damn Sam leading us out on our first round of timed attempts here. This track does have corner names as well, which is always fun for me because I like to be able to remember them as much as I can. JST is apparently retired from the session. Let's see if I've been pinged or not as a potentially any weather on the way. Brian Mosser is typing. According to Brian Mosser, qualifying, 16 to 12% rain in qualifying. It's probably not going to rain. The race does say dry, but with 19% chance, so maybe we do get lucky and we get some wet weather on the way, but we'll have to wait and see. As mentioned, it will be Damn Sam, first driver out on track. He's going to be making his way out of Galp Corner, otherwise known as the Shed Corner in English, it's translated to, and down the pit straight. One of only 2 DRS sections on this track, but this is a very powerful DRS straight, this. Into what I would say is one of the most difficult first corners in the game, really. Not that it's challenging driver-wise, but if you go side-by-side through that corner, carnage is definitely there. Out of Turn 2, well, it's a bit of a slide there going through Turn 3. This is Lagos up the hill through at Turn 4, heading now down the hill. Second DRS section activated here into the VIP Tower corner. Torre Vip, as it's pronounced in Portuguese. Exits nicely there. Turn 6 and 7 coming up now, heading towards the Samsung corner, turn number 8. Which is this one right here. Exits nicely, then down the hill through the Craig Jones turn 9. Craig Jones, a former English motorcycle rider who was killed. Going through Portimao corner 10 and 11 as you've just been. Turn 12, turn 13 coming up here. Sagres, turn 14. Right here, and then the final after that is the Galp, the Shed Corner, as mentioned. Exit Sagres coming around the corner. This is going to be flat out now. It kind of almost never used to be. Sometimes you needed to keep it more to the, 3/4 of the throttle, just on account of the car would naturally want to push wide, but with the amount of downforce that these cars do have on them, it is totally flat out now. 118.046 for Damn Sam. I don't think that's going to be his best lap of the session. We'll go along with Dusty now, making his way down the pit straight into Primera corner. Bit of a lift there, down into 6th gear, through Turn 2 into Lagos. Oh, another bit of a back-end slide there. Second time we've seen that from a driver now. Then again, we do have yet to find this circuit on this game, so, you know, new territories for these drivers. Don't race on Portimao very much, but when we do, it does typically provide some fun racing, and of course some track limits penalties as well, if you're into doing the math and trying to figure out where the drivers end up at the end of it. That's totally, I understand that. But Dusty Lusky through the Craig Jones corner, up through the Portimao, turn 10 and 11, and down the hill. I don't exactly know how this one's going to relate to Damn Sam's attempt earlier, but it could very well be a situation where Dusty Lusky does find himself in a good position here. He'll cross the line momentarily, and it will be a 1:17.797. Gets Damn Sam by about a quarter of a second. Frenchie currently about 2 seconds off the pace. We'll have the V-Carb next up of Knuckles. And he'll be at a 1:21.102. We got the McLaren up next of Brian Mosser. And to the line for him, up to third, 1:18.972. Second and third so far for the McLarens. We've got the Mercedes of Twinkie Cream yet to put one together. Israel, the only other driver currently out on track on a flyer, we believe. Making his way, well, it doesn't appear to be on a flyer. I think maybe this is kind of a warm-up lap for him here. Doesn't appear to be giving it the beans just yet. As mentioned, Twinkie Cream coming around the final corner, the Galp corner, the shed. I will apologize as well. I am feeling slightly under the weather. I'm sniffling about as much as an upset child. But down the pit straight is that of Twinkie Cream. Heading through Primera corner. Whoa, that's a big slide, but he's held it together only just. That was actually quite the violent slide through that corner. We have yet to see it really be that scary going through there. Oh, as Slayer Eyes has found the wall. We have Gab going through the first couple of corners now. Does he lock up on the rear end going into Lagos corner? No, he doesn't. One of the only drivers so far that we've seen not have difficulty with that corner so far. But that was a big slide for Twinkie Cream. It looks as if he's going to try his best to at least keep this lap going and salvage what he can. Through VIP Tower is Gab. He's got clear track ahead of him. He'll be going up the hill in through Samsung corner here shortly. Doesn't appear to be on a timed lap, though. I think he's called it quits. Slightly odd. I'm not sure why he's not chosen to see out the end of this lap. It's a little weird. Twinkie Cream has somewhere along the line invalidated. That, I believe, has gone through turns 10 and 11, the Portimao sections of the track where we see the Williams of Israel go through now. Sometimes you can go a little bit wide through there. Israel, I believe this is his timed attempt, is 7 seconds clear through Sector 2. We've got the Red Bull of Slayer Eyes making his way into VIP Tower. Gab, I think, is going to be starting another one here shortly. We'll go back with... who were we just along with? We were along with Israel. Up the hill and down the pit straight for Israel. Currently fourth, 1:19.397. Damn Sam, currently second placed man on an outlap. Twinkie Cream has apparently left the session. I don't know if that's by design or he's lagged out then. Not too sure. Cam Tizzle, Purple Sector 2, making his way through turn 13 now into Sagris. Let's see what kind of time he's able to put together as he exits Galp corner. DRS will be activated. I actually believe this might be... Well, it's a 1:18.343. It is within 5.5 tenths of the top spot, but I think now might actually be his timed lap attempt. It didn't appear as if he was using much of his battery on that attempt. I think this one might be the one he's going for here. We'll have to wait and see. Although he hasn't validated, according to the game. Shame. 10.5 quicker through Sector 1. Dusty Lusky on an outlap as well. Damn Sam looks to be on a good one here. Half a second quicker through Sector 1. That is quite the improvement there, and I think, again, he was one of those drivers we saw have that bit of a lockup going into Lagos, where the back end of the car really wanted to come around to the outside for him. So I think he's probably fixed his grievances there. Up through Samsung corner. Oh, that is just brilliant to look at, isn't it? We do have a yellow flag ahead of him. I believe it's that of Cam Tizzle. Oh, Cam Tizzle's had a bit of a shunt there, exiting turn number 10. Doesn't appear that he's lost any of the front wing, but that was a noticeable off then for the V-carb. Back along with Damn Sam. 0.8 quicker through Sector 2. Looking like he's going to be well on his way to a provisional pole time right here, as long as he can keep it within track limits these final couple of corners. This track, one of those circuits that will absolutely leave you out to dry on that energy store. It's a 1:17.488. Gets 0.3 of a second on Dusty Lusky. But this track, as I was just mentioning, really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Really strict? No, that's not really the word. Very rigorous on how much energy store you actually get, and then, how much you use and then you recharge. I mean, some of these guys, if we're just sticking by, what we used to see in the older games when we visited this track, these guys would turn on the engine deployment mode for the hot lap, and it'd be done by the time they exit Segrease Corner. It's still with about 300 meters to go here before the line. Dusty Lusky 1:17.267. That's a new fastest lap of the session. So Dusty Lusky top spot. Damn Sam has second. Next up on the line is one of the V-carbs. I believe it is that of Knuckles, who apparently has actually gotten much better on that previous attempt. We've got one of the Saubers coming around the final corner now. It is Frenchie, who appears to be 0.3 quicker through Sector 2. Let's see if he finds the end of this lap well here. And nope, I don't know what's happened with Frenchie. Apparently, has he decided against finishing out that lap? I don't know. I think he very well could have been on time for a halfway decent lap. I don't know what's happened there. That's a little odd. We do have the McLaren of Brian Moss around in the final corner now. Let's see what he has to offer. 6 minutes and 50 seconds remain. Brian Mosser will go fourth, 1:18.333, 6.5 quicker. Good lap from him. Very close alongside Cam Tizzle. Less than, matter of fact, 1/100th of a second separating those two. Dusty Lusky on an out lap now. I say on an out lap, maybe this is cool down. Potentially, is he going to be starting another one here? Although he does appear to be on low fuel, so no, it will be into the pit lane for Dusty Lusky. Brian Mosser, this is his cool down lap. Noganator probably on one as well. Knuckles rounding the final corner. I don't know if this is a flyer for Knuckles. Matter of fact, either way, it's slow by about 0.2 of a second. With 6 minutes remaining, we do have Slayerized and Israel both out on track. We've got Frenchie out there as well, although on low fuel. He'll probably be coming in here very shortly. There goes Chief Braids on his way into the pit lane. Still just Twinkie Cream and Ambu Mason yet to put together timed attempts. Brian Mosser into the pit lane as well. We do have Gab coming out on an out lap now. Behind him, Noganator, who appears to be on a hot lap, is about 1/10 quicker through Sector 2. So potentially do we have improvement here from the Alpine in question. Doesn't need to get a lot of time to make his way onto the second row. Just needs, about 0.3 of a second to get himself there convincingly. Let's see as he exits Galp Corner now. And down the pit straight for the Alpine in question, and across the line it will be fourth place, 1:18.253, improves by, there you go, 0.3 of a second, and he's on to the second row now, about 4/100ths behind Gab in that third spot. Very tightly contested upper midfield here. Cam Tizzle on an out lap now. We've also got Slayerized, who I think this is actually a time attempt from Slayerized here. Let's see as he gets to the line. This is looking pretty good. It's up to third, 1:17.798, improves by 1.5 seconds, and actually leapfrogs his teammates up to the third spot. It's currently a second row lockout for the Red Bull team, but a very good lap from Slayerized with 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. Next up around the line, it appears to be Israel. I think he might be starting a timed attempt here. Makes his way out of Galp corner. And, well, it doesn't appear that he's done either of which. Still either just warming up the tires, or I don't really know what's going on with the Williams here. So Israel, not on a flyer. We've got Chief Braids on an outlap as well. In his Aston Martin, currently about 3 seconds off the pace. Coming around the final corner now, we do have Slayerized, I believe, is going to be into the pit lane here. 3 minutes remaining. Maybe will we see some of these drivers come back out on track and put together their final timed attempts. Let's see now. Gab making his way through the final stages of the lap here. Potentially looks as if this is going to be his flyer. And apparently I'm allowed to be wrong. Into the pit lane goes Gab. 2 minutes and 20 remaining. Dusty Lusky on an out lap. Sam appears to be on a timed lap here. Making his way through Samsung corner. Curious to see what if he's improved. Going through Sector 2. Only just 3/100ths of a second. That's currently not going to be enough to improve. Unless he's had a hell of a Sector 1. Out of Galp corner goes Damn Sam. Down the pit straight and across the line for the McLaren. What does he have? Well, it's actually provisional pole. 1:17.252. 90 seconds remaining in the session. And is currently clear of Dusty Lusky by 15/1000ths of a second. And suddenly Dusty Lusky is rather on the back foot here as he makes his way down the pit straight and heads towards Primera corner. Oh, and he's invalidated. He's gone wide through Primera. That's the end of his qualifying session. Slayerized and Noganator on outlaps as well. Brian Mosser has just begun his final lap. Although, maybe had a bit of a slide there, it kind of looked. Cam Tizzle background starting his final attempt now. Well, maybe. I don't think so, actually. He's actually improved on that. Despite having 75% battery left, he's improved and has made his way into the 5th spot. Noganator on an outlap here. Brian Mosser. Outlap as well. Or potentially a warm-up lap here, potentially. We do have Knuckles making his way through Sector 3. 0.4 of a second quicker through Sector 2. That'll put him, well, it'll keep him P9 for the moment, unless he's done well enough to leapfrog Israel and get up to the 8th spot, potentially 7th if he can get around Brian Mosser. 7/1000 separate the McLaren and the Williams. Across the line for Knuckles does get... Wow, look at this. Well, I've never seen anything like this. Brian Mosser and Knuckles, identical times. Wow. I mean, well, I'd be lying, but that is quite the feat, that one. And it doesn't appear that Brian Mosser is going to get back round in time to improve, but he will get the spot over Knuckles because he set that time first. But wow. Who would have thought that? We do have now, that is the V-Carb of Cam Tizzle, who I think is spun coming out of Portimao corner. To the line was the Red Bull of Gab. He's gone 3rd, has improved by 0.4 of a second. Dusty Lusky making his way through Sector 2 now. To the line is the Aston Martin of Chief Braid, stays 11th. We've got now, it's not the Noganator, I think it's Israel, who doesn't appear as if he's gotten back to the line quick enough, as well as Cam Tizzle. Slayerized has spun the car, going through Samsung corner. I think it rests on the shoulders of Dusty Lusky now, who making his way into turn 13. Next up, Sagrease corner. and then Galp the final. Is Noganator on a flyer? No, he has invalidated his Slayer Eyes. Another bit of a slide there. It's all up to Dusty Lusky, 3/10 quicker through Sector 2. And to the line for Dusty Lusky, and it's going to be pole. 1:17.214, and it's less than 4/100ths between Dusty and Damn Sam. That's a very close time, that. Once again, the story being equal times for Brian Mosser and Knuckles. What is it? 7/1000 separating 7th through 9th, and 2 of which identical. Huh. But Red Bull lock out the second row. Damn Sam in second by only just. Noganator 6th, Brian Mosser 7th, 8th Knuckles, 9th is Israel, 10th Frenchie, 11th is Chief Braids, and unfortunately for Twinkie, Cream, J-Sty, and Anbu Mason, they did not put together a time. So formation lap underway now here at Portimao. I'm assuming a lot of the drivers are going to be choosing the soft tire. Oh, God almighty, why does Fortnite want to download now? No, I'm not asking you to do that, quite frankly. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyways, yeah, so even split, I would say. We've got 6 drivers on the softs. That'll be 8 on the mediums then. I tell you what, the degradation and the delta between the two is really not that much. I don't know why my games are attempting to download now. I'm not asking them to. The delta between the two compounds really won't be that much, at least in these initial offerings. I think it's going to be kind of, they're really the same on pace. I think the mediums are just going to last that little bit longer. So we're absolutely probably going to be seeing this either soft to medium over to the hard for the one stop of the race today. But Dusty Lusky on pole, Damn Sam second, both on the softs. We've got Gab third on the mediums. The Red Bulls have chosen alternating strategies here, as well as the pair of the V-carbs. 13 to 19, soft to medium. Medium to hard, 17 to 32. As Dusty Lusky rounds Galp corner, and will line up on the grid here momentarily. Question's going to be, how well does Gab launch off the line here? Albeit he's on the medium tires, he's starting third. But you have to think that those medium tires, being the harder of the two compounds being used, will get off the line slightly slower here. And he's angled his car, slightly pointed to the inside. As now we just wait for the Haas, sorry, the V-carb then, of, it looks at Pete Knuckles making his way back to the grid here. And just waiting now for Anbu Mason to form up as well. And we'll be able to get underway for the 4th time this season. Dusty Lusky lines up on the left side. He'll have the outside line in the first corner. That might be safer at this track as the lights turn on. 4 lights and eventually 5 lights here for Portimao. And Frenchie has a drive-through penalty for jumping the start, but Dusty Lusky does get away pretty halfway decently here. He has cleared Damn Sam. It's 3 abreast behind him. The 2 Red Bulls might be side by side in the corner. That could get risky, and it is Gab who does go wide. Has lost the spot off the start to his teammate, and as they make their way through Lagos corner, everybody looks as if they've gotten away okay. Dusty Lusky does lead Damn Sam by 4.5 of a second here, but Cam Tizzle may have a look at Gab, may be late on the brakes to the inside, going into VIP Tower. No, he hasn't. Brian Mosser and Israel side by side, going through the very same corner, and it looks as if Brian Mosser can't quite make a move around the Williams in question. Will stay 8th. As far as positions gained and lost, the Red Bulls have swapped. Israel up 2, Twinkie Cream up 2, J-Sty and Anbu Mason, and that of Slayer Eyes, the only other drivers who have moved in the positive direction. Brian Mosser down 2, Frenchie down 4. Once again, Frenchie having a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. That will certainly not help him, especially on a grid of only 14 drivers. We have a yellow flag. J-Sty's gone round. He's taken some advertising board along with him. Twinkie Cream and Brian Mosser now side by side going through Sagrease corner. The Mercedes on the inside. Brian Mosser will have the better acceleration, will be able to stay ahead of the Mercedes for the time being. But as they make their way down the pit straight, Slayer Eyes may have a look at Damn Sam here very shortly. Will he be able to have a look to the inside? No, it's not going to happen now. If anything, I would expect it to happen more or less going down into the 5th corner. The DRS detection zone coming up here, up the hill through turn number 4. And there it is. So, DRS will be activated here for Slayerized. He's going to have to really gun it to get to Damn Sam and be able to overtake him to the inside. Yeah, he's going to be well too far away to make that happen. But still, as the grid will proceed to make their way through turn number 5. Frenchie exiting the pit lane after having served his drive-through penalty, now 19, almost 20 seconds behind the last place car of J-St, as Dusty Lusky leads them through the Jones corner and through now Portimao turns 10 and 11. Bit of a wiggle there for Slayerized getting onto the throttle, exiting the corner. Probably went wide, maybe picked up a track limits warning there. DRS obviously has been activated by this point, so I'm curious to see if now will we get some moves heading through the pit straight here. Damn Sam hardly able to keep on to the back of Dusty Lusky here, 9/10 of a second at the detection point. Any moves being made in this first corner. Damn Sam's not going to be close enough. Slayerized won't be close enough. If anything, Israel's going to have it on Noganator here, and he's going to blow past the Alpine. Knuckles won't be close enough to the Noganator, and Brian Mosser won't be close enough to Knuckles. Andrew Mason wanted to have a look at Chief Braids. Chief Braids nearly lost the car going over the curb through turn 1 Primera and turn 2. Down the hill, Damn Sam does get quite close to Dusty Lusky there. He's going to have to go wide, and now that could open the door for Slayerized. Potentially, will he have a look at the back of the McLaren? Damn Sam was, I think, late on the brakes. Either that or he had a hell of a lockup and misjudged it, nearly went into the back of Dusty Lusky. Up the hill, through Samsung corner. 2/10 of a second between Cam Tizzle and Gab as they go through the Portimao corners. Within the slipstream of the Red Bull here, going in towards turn 12. Sorry, is this turn 12 or is that turn 13? I don't actually know which. No, that's got to be 12, yeah. So, 4/10 of a second now, Cam Tizzle on the back end of Gab here as they make their way through Galp corner. We can assume that V-Carb is going to have a move on the Red Bull here very shortly, as down the pit straight they go, 2/10 of a second, and DRS has only just been activated now, and to the inside for Cam Tizzle. We can assume he's going to have this one only just, or maybe a little bit of contact there, but they keep it clean. Noganator to the back of Israel was 2/10 of a second, didn't quite get the opportunity to put a move together then. 6, 7, 8, and 9, the current train of cars battling for position here. Brian Mosser's gone very heavy over the curb. In fact, he's gone into the grass more so as well. Noganator will try to outbrake Israel on the inside, going into VIP Tower. Don't often do you see a move be made here, but Noganator looks to have done it very well. Yes, he has. 2/10 of a second here. Israel trying to stay within reach of Noganator as well. Knuckles trying to find potentially a move around the Williams. A little bit of a slide there for Noganator, perhaps was their contact from the charging Williams behind him. Up the hill, turn 10 and 11, coming up now the Portimao corners, and it looks as if still deadlocked between these four. It's 3/4 of a second between Noganator and Israel, 2/10 between Israel and Knuckles, 4.5 now between Knuckles and Brian Mosser. Oh, but look at this. Knuckles going to try the outside of Israel here. I think Israel may have made a hash of turn number 13 outside of Segre's corner. Back on the throttle they go. Full balls until they go through Galp corner. I don't know why that came out of my mouth. Anyways, as Slayerized is going to get around Damn Sam, that being for the second spot. Down the pit straight they go. Brian Mosser trying the inside. Not going to have it. Not this time. Just 1/10 of a second between Israel and Noganator into Lagos. Oh, contact made there. Oh, and the Williams of Israel's going to go around, and he's going to pick up a 3-second penalty to boot for corner cutting, and now is also losing the position to Brian Mosser. Well, that one has gone from bad to worse to even worse than that for Israel, down to 9th. So now that leaves one of the closer battles on track, that of Damn Sam back to Slayerized. 1/2 a second between the two. Neither of which will be able to have DRS to Dusty Lusky, who's got a 1.5 advantage. Going through Segre's corner now, 6.5 of a second between Damn Sam and Slayerized as they go to make their way through the Galp corner. Let's see Is Damn Sam going to be able to have enough of a run at Slayerized here down the pit straight? It doesn't initially appear like that's going to be the case. DRS activated for the McLaren. And yeah, he's not quite going to get close enough this time. Although still within striking distance should a mistake be made. Israel's going to have a look at Brian Mosser here. He'll have the inside relatively easily, and he'll be able to get through Primera Corner, no problem. Israel back up to 8th. And out still the battle, though, as Noganator leads the charge. Half a second. Oh, Noganator, that's a big slide. Knuckles has to take evasive action, and to the inside now is Israel, and it's going to be side by side, heading into VIP Tower, and Israel back to 6th. And just like that, wow. Okay, well that we didn't expect, as now Knuckles and Israel side by side as they make their way to Samsung. This could get hairy here. Knuckles trying the outside line, still side by side as up the hill they go. Knuckles round the outside. Sorry, that's Israel round the outside and gets the position. As Noganator and Brian Mosser, no love lost between these two. Anytime you see these two on track and they're within the same vicinity of each other, things might get hairy. As Noganator, well, nearly went full tilt round turn number 4. The car severely got away from him. Knuckles had to take evasive action and go wide. That allowed Israel to the inside. And back up to the 6th position for Israel, who after his mistake a couple of laps ago has gotten back the ground he lost. Israel choosing to defend the inside. Knuckles may try to tuck back within the slipstream here. That's exactly what he does. Down the straight they go. Brian Mosser may have a look at Noganator here. No, not quite. Although, well, that one got close between Brian Mosser and Noganator that time into Lagos Corner. By the way, this has allowed Twinkie Cream, Chief Braids, and Andrew Mason into the battle as well. Position number 6 up for grabs between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers. And Noganator trying the left-hand side of Knuckles here. Round the outside through Samsung Corner, similar to where Israel took the position off of Knuckles very recently. And oh, Knuckles, well, I think it may have made a mistake there, because now he's lost the position to both Brian Mosser and the Noganator. That car must have severely jutted to the inside, and he's lost 2 positions then. That has allowed Twinkie Cream into the mix here. Oh, big lock up there for Knuckles, and that car's gone round. Well, and I tell you what, mistakes have been made, and we do have carbon fiber littering the circuit at the moment. I'm wondering whose bits of front wing that is. As we go through Sagrease Corner this. Well, maybe we could go along with, well, JST's passed it already, but it will be Chief Braids into the pit lane. I'm assuming it was him who has lost the bit of the front wing. Just the Constantina effect then. And oh, the front wing's not being replaced. That looks to be an error to me. So that car is pit for fresh mediums, but has not repaired the front wing. I don't believe that was by design, that. Yeah, and I think it was just the Constantina effect between Knuckles' little slide there going through the corner. Created kind of a backup as Knuckles has actually gone off the track again. We do now have JST getting around Knuckles as well. Noganator trying to find the back of Brian Mosser still again. We follow along with this battle. No love lost between former championship competitors, the both of them. 2 guys that fought tooth and nail for this Division 2 championship just a couple of seasons ago. Down the pit straight they go now, 0.3 of a second. Does Noganator have a look at Brian Mosser? He's a little far back for the time being, and yep, he's not going to have it now. Well, we have a yellow flag. Oh, it's Damn Sam. Damn Sam has gone around the top turn 4. And will probably now join this battle. Not by design, but he will join it between himself and Brian Mosser. Oh, look at this. He may have held up his teammate here. He'll force his teammate the long way around. That's going to allow Noganator for the left side. And oh, now the 2 McLarens are scrapping. And side by side, the two papayas. And Damn Sam is going to keep his spot, but that's going to allow Noganator into this outright here to the inside, going through Samsung corner. And Brian Mosser has either made an error getting onto the throttle or he's letting Noganator past. Yeah, not really sure what it was there for Brian Mosser allowing Noganator to take that spot. Although, Mosser in position. Oh, that's a big slide for the Noganator, and Mosser's gone into him. Well, Noganator has spun it on his own then, and Brian Mosser, I think, couldn't react quick enough and has lost a bit of the front wing. That'll set Noganator back to 10th, and I'm thinking, is it that of Brian Mosser who picked up the damage? Yes, it is. The end plate on the right front of that car is unfortunately no longer with him. Somehow Noganator has remained without damage. And now, J-St, half a second back to Noganator here. Battle for the 9th spot, currently occupied by Twinkie Cream as we're about a third of the way through this Grand Prix. Going through VIP Tower, corner number 5. And still for the time being, it appears the Mercedes is leading the charge, although Noganator 0.2 of a second behind. Up the hill through Samsung corner, and it appears that Noganator still for the time being can't find a move around. Although battle now for the 2nd position as Dusty Lusky has gotten a 3-second gap back to Slayer Eyes. Slayer Eyes in hot water here as Cam Tizzle with DRS flies past the Red Bull to the inside and up to 2nd. The battle once again here as J-St trying to find his way up through the order, although not necessarily pressuring Noganator. Noganator within 0.3 of a second on Twinkie Cream as they make their way through Galp. And down the pit straight they go. Looks as if the Alpine's going to have this one. I don't want to say relatively easily, but he's absolutely going to have it here. Although he's going to have to clear him by the time they get to the braking zone, and he does only just. And that may open the door for J-St to have a move on the Mercedes as well. Although not quite, not for the time being. We are getting closer to the pit stop window as well. Again, we're thinking that the pit window for both these strategies that we see are going to be relatively the same. They're going to be pitting around that 15-lap mark. Probably over to the mediums for those on the softs, over to the hards for those on the mediums. Oh, damn, Sam's gone around again. This is exiting Samsung corner. Actually to the outside. Well, we don't see cars off in that section of the track too often. He may have had help from behind. Either way, he's lost a hell of a lot of the front wing. Yeah, not really sure what's happened there. I don't think he's done that on his own unless he's really gone in too hot into the corner, had a hell of a tank slapper. I think he probably had help from behind, because usually we'll see drivers go to the inside of that corner. As J-St, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. We'll open the penalty tracker as well. Yeah, not really sure what's happened there. Knuckles into the pit lane. J-St closing in on Twinkie Cream. Twinkie's going to try to defend the inside. He'll force the Williams around the outside here. And he has cleared the Mercedes by the time they get through Primera. So Twinkie Cream still 0.3 of a second behind. By the way, this is kind of getting Noganator into the picture now as well. DRS will be activated for J-St. As Twinkie Cream, he's not going to have a look this time, I don't think. Damn Sam into the pit lane, front wing being changed. Knuckles on his way out, may put him alongside Frenchie. No, not quite. Worth pointing out, Anbu Mason, who was talking earlier in the Discord how he was having problems with the setup, currently running in the 7th position. I don't know if he's either figured out what those were, is having to overcome some sort of technical gremlins at the moment. So we have just seen Slayer Eyes pit here. onto the medium tires for the Red Bull in question. Noganator now very close alongside Anbu Mason for that 7th spot. Also, JST in the picture as well. Noganator to the inside of the Haas. Will he be able to stay ahead? Yes, he will. Good move by the Noganator back to 7th. If we look at the positions, gained and lost, Anbu Mason up 6. Israel up 5. JC up 4. And penalties still to be applied at some juncture of the race as well. Twinkie Cream does not have DRS, but has gotten himself back within a second of these two battling ahead of him. As Anbu Mason goes deep into the braking zone, JC trying the inside, nothing there. Now making their way towards the Samsung corner, up the hill. JC could have a look at Anbu Mason here very shortly. Anbu falling off the back of Noganator, quite rapidly I'd say as well. Since the overtake was made, he's now lost a second. As Dusty Lusky, the leader, into the pit lane. Most likely softs to mediums here. Potentially softs to hard. Let's see, what does he decide to do? It will be to the medium tires. So that will demote Dusty Lusky down to the 4th spot. Puts him behind Israel. 0.2 of a second between JST and Anbu Mason. Does anybody decide to pit this time? Nope. JST is going to have this position, I think, well early. DRS only just activated before the start-finish line, and he had already been side-by-side with Anbu Mason, and that's an easy one for JST, up to 8th. Into the pit lane is Twinkie Cream, onto the medium tires for him. We've got Knuckles versus Chief Braids here for the 11th position. Knuckles going to have DRS. Using his energy store as well up to the 11th position if he can make it happen, and he does just that. Oh, and he's going to get up to 10th as well as Twinkie Cream and Chief Braids actually exit the pit lane side by side. That one nearly got hairy. Oh, and Chief Braids... Wow, we got a bit of a lack of grip going on here because Frenchie's lost the car. Chief Braids has lost the car there temporarily. And I'm thinking Chief Braids... Why, when he stopped, that front wing wasn't replaced? I guess maybe did he have it set to... no instead of auto, or maybe has he done that by design? I couldn't tell you, but one thing's for certain is that when you're driving a car with front wing damage, not only is the aerodynamics and the handling of the car going to change as well, but the braking performance as well. These cars are going to start to lock up a lot more. You know, you're not going to be stopping nearly in as much time. So Chief Braids potentially struggling with that then. DRS will be activated for JST. I don't know if he's going to be close enough to Noganator to make it happen this time. He'll have a slight peek to the inside and to the outside. Nothing there. Twinkie Cream, 8.5 tenths behind Knuckles. Damn Sam about 6 tenths behind that of Frenchie. Up the hill through turn 4 they go. And JST, 6 tenths of a second. Potentially Anbu Mason can get back on this battle as well. As we have a yellow flag. And who is that? I believe that's Israel. Yes, it is. Our man in 3rd place has gone off the track. Doesn't slip down the order very far, but definitely off the track for Israel. We now have JST on the back of Noganator here. We do have Frenchie into the pit lane. And it will be to the medium tires for Frenchie. So now JST, half a second behind Noganator. We do have Slayerized as well. 3 tenths behind Brian Mosser as we have a yellow flag going through the first corner. I believe Frenchie was making way for the leaders. To the inside goes Brian Mosser. Slayerized on Brian Mosser up to the 5th position. JST around the outside of Noganator then for the 7th position. Knuckles may have a look at having to defend Twinkie Cream here as they make their way through Galp. And down the pit straight they go. Twinkie Cream, I think, is a little bit too far behind. Matter of fact, I'm not sure he'll have DRS. Oh, he does. Won't be able to overtake him this time as Noganator to the inside of JST going through VIP Tower, turn number 5. Still side by side. And Noganator will get round the Williams in question by the time they get to Samsung. Nicely done for Noganator. Damn Sam to the inside of Chief Braids, and Chief Braids has actually gone off the track there out to the left side. He's gone wide going through Primera and turn number 2. May see another move here made between J.St. and Noganator. Probably once DRS is activated here, as anybody else has yet to stop. Actually, quite a bit of drivers. Cam Tizzle and Gab haven't stopped yet. Israel hasn't stopped. Brian Mosser, Noganator, J.St. and Boo Mason. But we can assume as well that those soft tires, or the medium tires that they currently reside on, which they started the race on, will last a little bit longer. So it'll be the medium to soft for them, most likely. No challenge into the first corner from J.St. that time, but Noganator's taking a lot of the sausage curb on the inside. Nearly opened the door for the Williams, but not quite. Maybe as they go up through turn number 4 and down the DRS here. Nah, not quite. I've actually seen a lot of moves here today. Usually you don't very see that much heading into that corner. Anbu Mason's actually replaced a front wing. We must have missed that. When did Anbu Mason pick up wing damage? I must have seriously missed something. I don't know, but either way, he's gone to the hards. Bit of a unusual choice, that. J.St. 7/10 of a second behind Noganator, currently the closest battle on track. Have to wait and see, I believe. Neither of these two drivers have yet to pit either, as well as our 2 leaders of Cam Tizzle and Gab. Although we can expect those guys to be in here quite shortly. Matter of fact, there goes Cam Tizzle at least. Oh, sorry, that's not Cam Tizzle, that's Israel. Either way. And it will be Noganator into the pit lane as well. Israel. What will he choose? It will be the hard tires for the Williams here. Noganator into the pit lane as well. I think that's the McLaren of Brian Mosser. Repairing the front wing and the hard tires. Hard tires as well for Noganator. And once again, our 2 best friends going to be right next to each other. As they exit the pit lane, well, this is where it gets interesting here, because I think Brian Mosser could very well find an opening at Noganator. It's going to depend on who gets their tires up to temperature first. Up the hill through turn 4, Brian Mosser heavy over the... Whoa, okay. So, let's dissect that. Brian Mosser went to the inside, went into the grass going up the hill through turn 4. Noganator nearly lost the car getting on the throttle. Brian Mosser had to check up as he was going to go right into the back of Noganator if he didn't save himself then. And Boo Mason to the inside of Chief Braids will have that one relatively easily. So now the 2 McLarens battling it out here. Damn Sam now within position on both his teammate and Noganator. As we have a yellow flag, I think Israel's gone off again. Yes, he has, and he's lost a bit of the front wing. Day going from bad to worse for Israel. Coming up closer on 10 laps to go in about, 5-ish laps time. Oh, Brian Mosser. Well, that's a bit of an odd way to go get a 3-second penalty. He's gone over the inside curb going through Galp. You don't see that too often. He'll be able to get around Noganator here around the outside. Damn Sam's going to do it as well. Look at Damn Sam! Is he going to get his teammate? Whoa, I tell you what, Damn Sam nearly had the both of them. And no, not quite. Oh, but maybe he will. Brian Mosser's left the door open. Sam, is he going to try it on the outside? No, he doesn't. He tucks back in line. But that one... Damn Sam was hauling ass. Going down in that first corner, I'm a little surprised. Had that straight been about 100 meters longer, he would have absolutely had it. Dusty Lusky, 119.925, current fastest lap. As we still have a 3-car battle for this 8th position. 2 of which on 3-second penalty. Still, it's incredible to see Damn Sam battling his teammate this much here. You'd think they'd kind of be working together. Not the case. He's going to actually try the right side now, going up the hill through turn 12. Damn Sam is looking for it on his teammate here. Oh, contact's going to be made. That may open the door for Noganator, which I'm sure is a welcome sight for him. Not to mention Dusty Lusky now back within a second of Gab. The top two, I believe, still have yet to make a stop here. Yes, they have. The only two in the grid have yet to find the pit lane. DRS will be activated for both Damn Sam getting around his teammate Brian Mosser, but does Nogator have the ability to find one of them? No, he doesn't. Oh, it appears Israel, yep, into the pit lane for his broken front wing. We'll check back with those two in a minute. We've got Dusty Lusky within a couple of tenths of Gab here. Just a tenth between them. Dusty Lusky having to find a way around Gab. Let's see, does he try the inside? Will tuck back in line of the Red Bull just temporarily. Gets another little bit of taste of the slipstream then. And up to the lead of the Grand Prix for Dusty Lusky as Cam Tizzle pits and will come out on track. I believe he will stay that third position. Yes, he will. He'll come out ahead of Slayerized and onto the soft tires. And now Gab, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Question is now, does Slayerized have an opportunity at Cam Tizzle? Could very well be the case, but we got a bigger battle at hand here. 4 drivers within reach of the 7th position. J-St leads the way. 3.5 tenths. Oh, Nogator, does he save it? Oh, only just, but that's going to really hinder his chances of getting back to this. We've got the Haas of Van Boo Masons gone off. The pair of the McLarens now all over the back of J-St. Damn Sam's going to get to the inside. Brian Mosser doing much of the same. And double overtake by the McLarens. Both getting around J-St. Back to 9th for him. And that was, in fairness to Nogator, a tough break then coming out of Sagree's corner. And really just got a little too trigger happy on the throttle, and the car had gone round and has relegated him back to 10th. Still 9/10 of a second between J-St and Brian Mosser, both of which on the hard tire. Currently the closest battle on track, although we do have, I believe, that's the Mercedes of Twinkie. Not Twinkie, that was Frenchie then, I believe, was alongside some of the leaders. So still at 7/10 of a second between these two as they make their way through Sagrees. And Galp after that. I'm wondering if J-St's going to be close enough to have a respectable amount of DRS here. He will have the aid of the rear wing being open, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really challenge Brian Mosser here. Down the pit straight they go, and as DRS activates, it's 0.8 of a second. Closing in quite quickly, but no, he's going to be about 0.3 of a second short then. Brian Mosser, a little bit of a wiggle going through turn 4. J-St follows in behind, hoping for potentially a move into the braking zone at turn 5. Not going to have it this time. Next time by, we'll have 10 laps to go. As Cam Tizzle's actually getting around Gab into the pit lane. Now Gab has already stopped here. He'll be going to the soft tires. Not even a wing change. I think he's just doing it strategically here. He won't be under pressure from being overtaken by Knuckles. That will promote his teammate of Slayerized up to 3rd. Gab back to 4th. Knuckles only making his way out of Sagrees now. Not going to be close enough to make anything happen. Damn Sam may have a look at Twinkie Cream here going down the pit straight this time. Let's go along with the McLaren. Through Galp corner now. Twinkie Cream's got about a 7.5/8 of a second gap. As, Chief Braids is retired. That being on track, and we have a safety car. Well, what has happened here? He spun the car exiting Portimao corner, and he must have absolutely smacked the inside wall, because that's his day done. And a safety car on track with 10 laps to go at the line this time by. Nothing like a bit of drama to spice things up here in the late proceedings. And into the pit lane for Dusty Lusky. We can probably assume onto the soft tires for him. And we're expecting pretty much everybody to follow suit, but Cam Tizzle stays out on track. Cam Tizzle will inherit the lead of the Grand Prix as he's not decided to stop. It's the soft tires fit for Dusty Lusky here. Slayer Eyes into the pit lane as well. Gab has already recently stopped, so he's in a position where he doesn't quite need to immediately worry. Maybe will he get his team in at the end of the pit lane here? I don't believe that he will. Nope, he's going to be shy. So into the pit lane as well. We see Damn Sam. Brian Mosser in as well. That could hurt Brian Mosser. We got a bit of a double stack on the way. Knuckles into the pit lane as well. Soft tires for him. Twinkie has stayed out. Gab has stayed out. The pair of the McLarens have come in. Not actually going to be that bad of a double stack here for McLaren. Yeah, that wasn't bad at all. He will lose the position to J-St. But so will Damn Sam. I think he's going to be able to stay ahead of the Noganator. No, not quite. Noganator. Oh, and Damn Sam's going to get out ahead on track just barely. So Cam Tizzle leads the queue as we follow the safety car after Chief Braid's DNF. We're going to let the safety car sort itself out, and we'll be back to it in just a moment. And we've got ourselves a hell of a conclusion to this Grand Prix. The top 4 cars all on the soft tires, as well as Knuckles and Brian Mosser. The rest of them have pit for mediums. Whilst being under the safety car, we do have several drivers on time penalty, but the question is, will Cam Tizzle be able to hold off Dusty Lusky? That'll be a massive task for him, but I think he's able if he's can get away good enough here on this opening lap. So we will have 7 laps to go at the line this time by. Slayer Eyes, could he potentially get around Dusty Lusky? Could it be his night? Well, the speculation ends. Oh, as Israel. What has happened with Israel? He's got a 10-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag. Well, I don't know what's happened there, but we're back underway. Dusty Lusky is not going to be able to challenge Cam Tizzle into the first corner this time. The pair of the Red Bulls follow. We got Knuckles to the inside of Twinkie Cream. Is going to get him there. Twinkie Cream being overtaken by J-St on the inside now. A little bit of contact being made there. Damn Sam trying to sneak his way into the battle as well. Up the hill going through turn 4. And they're still side by side, Twinkie Cream and J-St, despite now going down the hill in towards turn 5. Damn Sam has a little bit of a look to the inside, but nothing there. Peeks around the outside. Bit of a lock up on the back end that nearly came round from him and got into the side of Twinkie Cream, but he stays in a good position here. And now around the left side. And Damn Sam's going to get Twinkie Cream. I don't want to say with ease, as it nearly ended poorly not all that long ago, but it's now Noganator trying the outside of the Twinkie here, and he's going to get him going up through Samsung Corner, as well as Brian Mosser. This is unprecedented for Twinkie Cream to be losing this many positions that quickly. It's 0.2 of a second. Slayer Eyes has been overtaken by Dusty Lusky, or at least maybe they were side by side temporarily, but not anymore, as it appears Dusty Lusky has been able to keep that second spot. It's all up to him to battle Cam Tizzle. We have 6 laps to go this time by. And 3 drivers immediately within position to win this Grand Prix. Of course, Gab in this spot as well, but he's got a penalty. Although already nearly 3 seconds ahead of Knuckles, may keep that 4th spot. Down the pit straight they go. Slayer Eyes within 3.5 tenths of Dusty Lusky. Is not going to be close enough this time. And more importantly, Dusty wasn't close enough to Cam Tizzle. Damn Sam within 1/10 of J-St as they make their way through Primera and Turn 2 and Lago. And he's going to have a little bit of a twitch on the back end there. He'll sneak his way to the right side, and he'll be able to go up and around J-St on the outside, going up through turn 4. Noganator now to the inside of J-St, and he's going to get that one. Brian Mosser entering the picture. Brian Mosser laid on the brakes. Could he get J-St as well? It appears, at least for the time being, yes, he does. And they're still side by side. And somehow J-St still looking like he has an opportunity on the inside and does, and he's able to get the spot back from Brian Mosser. Good battle there. Through a very unorthodox part of the track to see battles being made as well. And now as they make their way, going through turn number 12 and up through turn 13, the battle for the lead is within 0.8 of a second between the top 3. This is going to be a wildly close battle to the finish here. Slayer Eyes looks on and hopes that a mistake is made between the top two as Cam Tizzle ducks to the inside. Dusty Lusky trying to find it as well. Slayer Eyes, not close enough at the moment to have a say in this battle. Dusty Lusky around the outside of Cam Tizzle and will get the top spot back. Damn Sam gets around Knuckles as well as Noganator. We now see Israel getting around Twinkie Cream, although Israel 16 seconds a penalty. And now, going down the hill, heading in towards turn number 5, Cam Tizzle with DRS once again. He's going to go for it here, trying the right side. He'll choose the outside. Does he switch back to the left? No, he doesn't. Dusty Lusky probably saw that move coming from a mile away and wasn't able to make the move. Was Cam Tizzle. Slayerized in the battle as well, not really participating in the lengths that Cam Tizzle and Dusty Lusky are, but he's still there. Noganator 0.6 of a second trying to hunt down the back of Damn Sam. 3.5 of a second. Slayer Eyes trying to find his way back to the V-Carb ahead of him and potentially have himself a say in this battle for the lead and the battle for the win. At the line this time, we will have 4 laps to go. And let's see, will DRS exiting Galp corner be enough for Cam Tizzle to strike back at Dusty Lusky here? It's 0.5 of a second. Slayer Eyes trying to find his way in this battle as well. DRS activated for the Red Bull as well. Down the pit straight they go. 1, 2, and 3, all within position. Can they find a move around Dusty Lusky? It's not going to happen now. They better hope that Dusty Lusky makes a mistake, because for the time being, that car looks absolutely brilliant in clean air. Brian Moss are able to get down to the inside of Knuckles and get the 7th position. The top 3 now, still within 0.7 of a second of each other as they head down the hill into turn number 5 as Cam Tizzle right on the back of Dusty Lusky here. Cam Tizzle looks like he did better in the straight line that time. Perhaps is that car doing more through the high downforce sections of this track. Slayer Eyes, I think, has made a mistake somewhere along the line. He's now outside of a second. And as they make their way through the Jones corner and then through Portimao, turns 10 and 11, Cam Tizzle putting the pressure on Dusty Lusky at the line this time. They'll have 3 laps to go. And now in racing, they tell you, when you've got this much pressure from behind you, do not look in that rearview mirror. There is nothing there that will be able to help you. Put down as good a laps as you can. Try your best to defend your line, knowing that you got a car behind you, and that car behind Dusty Lusky is that of Cam Tizzle. To the inside, the V-Carb goes for the lead of the Grand Prix, and he's going to get it. And he's going to get it relatively easily as well by the time they get through that first corner. Although, little bit of a hiccup going over the curve. He may have taken too much of the sausage curve on the inside, so Dusty Lusky is not out of the picture yet. If anything, that may have allowed Slayer Eyes back in it. 3 cars, all close enough to each other here to warrant this being a fight to the finish. At the line this time, they'll have 2 laps to go, 2.5 laps currently remaining in this Portuguese Grand Prix. And I tell you what, it very well could come down to the wire between Cam Tizzle and Dusty Lusky. 2 cars which look very convincingly good in both the straight line and in the high downforce sections of the track. And Cam Tizzle, despite having 3-lap older tires than that of Dusty Lusky, 11 to 8 will be the numbers at the line this time. Despite that, Cam Tizzle still looks like those tires are in good shape as we have Frenchie off the track. Through Sagrease corner, and then going through Galp. It will be 2 laps to go now. Let's see if Dusty Lusky, can he make a move on Cam Tizzle? DRS will be activated. He saved up plenty of his energy store as well, up into the 90s. Will he have a look to the inside? I don't think he's quite going to do it this time. Tactically for Dusty Lusky, he remains in second place. I think he knows that as long as he nails this lap here, he'll be able to get Cam Tizzle with ease going down the pit straight, but if he does it now, that'll allow Cam Tizzle the DRS going into the corner. That will give him the advantage. Dusty Lusky in towards turn number 5, the VIP tower for the penultimate time. Slayer Eyes is slowly poking his head on this battle as well. He's not there convincingly, but he is there. We've got Noganator and Brian Mosser. Who else? But they're side by side, and it looks as if Brian Mosser trying the outside, and the McLaren. Will he be able to get around the Alpine here? Yes, he will. So still the three-car battle for the win of the Grand Prix. It's a 10th and a half between Dusty and Cam Tizzle as they make their way through 10 and 11. Cam Tizzle looking like he's holding his lines well. Dusty Lusky will have to get desperate if he doesn't make a move happen this time. We're assuming Cam Tizzle is going to defend like a lion going down the pit straight, but it's going to be no match because Dusty Lusky, in the amount of battery that he has and the amount of DRS power that is had going down the pit straight, it's not going to matter. Going through Galp Corner for the penultimate time, and then down the pit straight. About to begin the final lap of the Grand Prix. It all comes down to this. Can Slayer Eyes put himself in this battle? It doesn't appear so. Dusty Lusky to the inside for what will be the win of the Grand Prix if he can keep it, and he does get the lead. And now Cam Tizzle has one more DRS section and 2 sectors after that to potentially get this lead back. Will he see the dive into turn number 5? That's going to be his best opportunity to getting this top spot back. That DRS is activated. That battery being used. He'll try to go down the inside. Dusty Lusky temporarily gets there. Oh, Cam Tizzle heavy on the brakes. Maybe was there contact from behind from Slayerized. Either way, Slayerized up to second. Cam Tizzle either went a severe lockup there or he had help from the Red Bull. Either way, half a second between the Red Bull and the Aston Martin, potentially. Oh, it's Cam Tizzle? No! Cam Tizzle, I think, may have had a moment, but damn Sand's gone round. That'll put him all the way back to 7th. And now 8th. Making their way through turn number 13, and then Sagrees, and then Galp for the final time. If Slayer Eyes can get a good enough run out of this final corner, he could very well have a look at Dusty Lusky. He doesn't have much battery. I think it's relatively all over here as they make their way through Galp. Dusty Lusky is by himself, and he will win the Portuguese Grand Prix here in Division 2. Slayer Eyes, did he make contact with Cam Tizzle? We don't know. What we do know, he's crossed the line in 2nd, and Cam Tizzle at least has 3rd. Gab will have 4th. Brian Mosser will not get 5th. He has too many penalties. Noganator will get 5th. Brian Mosser 6th. He'll actually drop to 7th as Knuckles will get the 6th spot. Damn Salmon 8th. JST 9th. 10th is Andrew Mason. 11th is Israel. And it looks as if 11th was actually belonged to Twinkie Cream as Frenchie, just the last driver left round. So Dusty Lusky, your winner today. And hey, by the way, be sure to check us out next week when we head to the Albert Park Circuit in Melbourne, Australia for round number 5 of this Division 2 season. What a great Grand Prix that was, Hotspot. It's been a pleasure joining you here for what was the first time we visited this circuit since Season 11, 2 seasons ago. What a great race it was, and we'll see you next time.